grains, vegetables, you name it, you can do it in a fraction of the time that you would normally have to do otherwise if you didn't have one of these incredible things. So I think it needs to be rebranded as of today. Stop calling it the pressure cooker, call it the low carbon cooker. Because everybody thinks pressure cooker, they think like their grandma's jiggle top contraption that exploded and left spaghetti sauce on the ceiling. This is like it's like urban myth. I don't even know if that ever really happened, but it doesn't happen now with these fabulous new pressure cookers. And we are actually raffling off a brand new deluxe German pressure cooker that Lorna has graciously donated to benefit the campus community garden, which so kindly let us host our eat-in here today, and we're very thankful and grateful. And we have harvested kale from this garden on the spot today. This is freshly picked. Doesn't get any more local than this, folks. And Lorna here is going to show us how to cook it up in no time. So I'm going to hand things over to Lorna. And Lorna, thank you so much for agreeing to do this. It's such an honor to have you here. So here you go, and I leave it to you.
Give us a kiss.
Thank you.
How many people are afraid of pressure cookers? Come on, be honest. 2 hands raised. Okay, so I've heard about every version of this story of Antilles pea soup on the ceiling that there is. But the new pressure cookers, the newly designed pressure cookers, what I call the second generation pressure cookers, have multiple backup safety mechanisms. Just for an example, see this window in the lid? If there's too much pressure in the cooker, the excess pressure will be expressed through this rubber gasket. The lid cannot blow off. The second generation cookers are pretty much imported from Europe, where, well, the truth of the matter is all around the world except in America, everyone has a pressure cooker. In India, everyone has 1 or 2 pressure cookers, right? And the way the pressure cooker works is it cooks food in 1/3 or less the standard amount of cooking time. And the way it does this is you fill a pressure cooker 2/3 full, allowing 1/3 of the pot to fill with steam pressure. As the steam pressure builds, this, remember, it used to be a jiggle top, it goes jigga, 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 jigga. Now in the new cookers, there's a stationary pressure regulator. When it comes up to the second red line, it means high pressure has been reached. Now I'm just going to turn on the heat and get the water boiling. You always need a minimum of 1 cup of water, or 1 cup of liquid. It can be chicken broth, because you need to build up the steam pressure. And the way the pressure cooker works is the following. Normally water boils at 212 degrees. In the pressure cooker, water boils at 242 degrees. And at this higher than normal boiling point temperature, food cooks in 1/3 the amount of time. It breaks down the fiber in tough cuts of meat. So it is excellent for economical eating. You can make a pot roast in an hour. You can make a beef stew in 15 minutes. You can make spare ribs falling off the bone in 15 minutes. Lamb stew, 12 minutes. On and on and on. It's wonderful for the dense vegetables like potatoes and beets, because again, it cooks in 1/3 the amount of time. So how pressure cooking works when you're actually doing the cooking is you bring the cooker up to high pressure over high heat. So we're going to do kale today, and I'm just going to really coarsely chop it. And we were going to actually do chickpeas along with the kale, but just in the interest of time, we're not going to do the chickpeas today. But chickpeas, you don't have to pre-soak any of the beans. And chickpeas will cook in 30 minutes from scratch, and they are the most tender chickpeas you've ever eaten, okay? Honestly, stovetop chickpeas, it's hard to get them really tender. Now, if I wanted to be a little more fussy, I might saute a little bit of onion first, but we're just going to throw it all in. We can dress it afterwards with olive oil. I think Carrie very kindly chopped up some onions, so I think I will just toss it in for flavor. The high heat of the pressure cooker does tend to soften harsh flavors, so that I tend now to put my garlic in at the end. I just push it through a press, because I found even when I was adding 1/4 of a cup of chopped garlic when it was under pressure. I found that you could hardly taste it. If I wanted to make chickpeas with kale, I would probably first cook the chickpeas, then add the kale, bring it back up to pressure for a few more minutes, and that's it. Now, this particular cooker is French. It's called the Recon, and it's an excellent cooker. Different cookers lock differently. That's the reason I'm mentioning it. This one you line up, there's a little arrow on the lid, there's a little arrow on the base. Locked. Other models, you push a little lever to lock it. Now the cardinal rule of pressure cooking is you're going to bring it up to high pressure over high heat. Depending on how much you have in the cooker, it'll take from 5 to 15 minutes if you're making a huge big pot of soup. It's always wise to add boiling water if you're in a hurry, because if the water's already boiling, it's going to come up to pressure that much faster. So traditionally, the timing in pressure cooker is started as soon as the pressure comes up. So we'll just wait for that to happen, and then I can hear already that something is happening. Now, once we're at high pressure, in order to maintain high pressure, what do we have to do? We don't want the pressure to keep rising, right? What do we have to do? We have to lower the heat. That is the cardinal rule of pressure cooking. When people used to have accidents, and a lot of you are very young, you probably haven't even heard about the pressure cooker, never mind all the accidents. What happened was, people had an old-fashioned type of pressure cooker, and they put the, put it over the high heat. Look at all these kids, they're not afraid of it. And see, it's already up to low pressure, which would be about 10 pounds of pressure. Anyway, they put the pressure cooker over high heat and they went out and walked the dog, right? So what happened? They came home in Mount Vesuvius, right? Because that little jiggler thing, it's not that the lid blew off, it's that little jiggler thing that blew off, and then there was a vent under it, and then the split pea soup or whatever went onto the ceiling. But whose fault was it? And the pressure cooker got the bad rap. You know, not fair. So now, you see, do all you young people see the second red line? You all see it, right? So we're going to turn the heat down now. And we're going to, I think we'll just do 3 minutes. Normally, if I were going to do kale, depending if you want to do really slow kind of braised kale, you might do 40 minutes. But you can also do kale in, 10, like a quick saute. So I'll just do 3 minutes. You noticed I use the stems. I don't get it about throwing all that stuff away. With Swiss chard, with kale, with collards, you see all these recipes, strip the leaves off the stems. Guess where that comes from? Classic French cooking, where they waste so much. What is wrong with chewing a little extra and having a little extra fiber? We need it. The only thing you want to do is you give the stems a little head start if you're doing a quick saute. But the pressure cooker will take care of everything. That's what it does. It breaks down the fiber in food. It's a little hard to regulate. Oh, I'm getting such a good aroma from something Carrie must have cooked in this earlier, and also from the kale. The pressure is building a little higher than I'd prefer, so in this cooker, I'm just going to release some. Look, I don't even understand why, but it's not scorching steam. I truly don't understand why that is, but so we've been going, what, about 2 minutes now, so we'll go another minute. Now, there are 2 ways to release the pressure. One is the way I showed you, quick release, boom. The other is the old-fashioned way, which is that you just take the cooker and you put it under cold running water, and 1, 2, 3, the pressure's down.
But how can you tell that you need to release the pressure? Like,
you buy my books.
I lift up the lid, I look, my dog.
No, okay, it's not that kind of cooking.
Right.
It's not take a peek at a little, take another peek. It's not that kind of cooking.
But why do you put chips in there?
Why do you put what?
I wish I made chips pancakes.
Chips? Oh, chips pancakes. That would be a very interesting dish. But it would get a little soggy in the pressure cooker.